At the bottom right of the map, we have once again in red our Terran players starting for the Fnatic team. It is
Fnatic alive.
He's definitely still alive in this best of 3. Last game with a very smart decision, saw an opportunity, took it, pulled the SCVs with great decision making here by Alive. He's facing his Protoss opponent, starting to the top left of the map once again in the blue, starting for Incredible Miracle. We have
LGIM First.
There's the gate. So we'll not be going Nexus first on this map. We are cross positions.
I liked how Alive built the third command center in the last game. He knew exactly that with this build and with what he tried to attempt, that he could fall back on the mules with all the SCVs that he pulled. 3 mules are just so important. If you play a game like this in the early stages and you are really behind in harvesters, with mules you can still make this work, and this is exactly the strategy that I missed. The one build that Alive used so often on Daybreak that he now chooses to play on Antigua, the double barracks, and from there on he will see what exactly First is going to do. If First starts here with the Nexus first, he is going to die, but he doesn't.
He does not, but even still, you know, depending on how much he tries to skip to get his Nexus out.
Yeah.
Because now he's seen what appears to be a 1-Rax expand, so he may try to cut some corners. Right now we've seen he's already skipped the Zealot, but he's not going to skip Core.
Yeah.
And he may try to go Nexus before Stalker. You do see that every now and then. And doing something like this can really put you behind. If Alive pulls simply 4 SCVs and goes with a few Marines, that can be really damaging. But also, he can just lift up and go home, and he only gets a slightly delayed command center. So this is actually a great builder.
We talked a little bit about it on Daybreak, but the idea behind this is, oh, actually he is being scouted. No, he's not. The probe turns around. But yeah, the idea behind this is what Alive tries to do. He actually anticipates that his opponent is probably starting with something greedy on this map. So he builds the second barracks to the left, where he can still fly it into his main base if need be. He scouts his opponent, he sees what exactly is going on. If there's going to be some kind of Nexus first play or really greedy opening by First, then he just pulls SCVs and goes in with his Marines, takes him down. And if that doesn't happen, he can just fly back into his main base with the barracks, something he's doing right now, and can get his expansion. It will be a little bit later than with the 1-Rax into expand, but this build gives him a lot more options, and I love that he still sticks to builds like this. I was really disappointed to not see it on Daybreak, because that was basically the map where we would always see this build from him, so yeah. I like this.
And you know, for that reason, that's probably the reason why he decided to use it here instead, because it may have been something that First studied based on the VODs that he's seen of Alive's play, and he decided to change things up here. Now, right now, we're going to see 5 Marines potentially crash through here with an SCV leading the charge, although he put his SCV on attack command, so he's not scouting, so he could have potentially damaged this Stalker and put pressure on the natural with that SCV, but since he somehow botched that, unless he's trying to bait this Stalker out with his SCV, which is actually... Oh my god.
I think that is actually exactly what he is doing. What Alive is trying to do here is something that we've seen from Hyun, sorry, not from Hyun, but from Keen a lot.
Yeah, now he just runs by with his little attack squad.
Yeah.
And he will force this Stalker up the ramp most likely, and the Stalker that comes home will have to fight these Marines on the high ground. He's not fighting.
Awesome. Awesome. He gets it.
Oh.
First. That's so bad for First. First did not realize what was happening.
There's nothing to stop him. Nothing.
That is Keen style. That is exactly what Keen was used to do.
And this is the only pylon again, just like last game. So you can either lose the pylon or lose some probes. Looks like he's going to lose the pylon.
He's losing so much time now. Oh! Yeah, he's losing so much time. Actually, he could lose a lot more than only time.
Yeah, he could have actually just killed some more probes, but he decides to go for the Stalker instead. Oh, nice micro by Alive. Sling back into the main. See what he can find. See if he can kill any additional probes. Wow.
Very, very well done here. Very well done. And this is a lot of time that First suddenly just lost. And this is exactly this run-by style. Baiting out the Stalker was ingenious. But this is a style that we see more and more by Terran players. And look, even with the pylon, he is not able to power all 3 gateways. So now he has to build a second pylon, wait for it before he can use those warp-ins.
Yep, that's very unfortunate.
He did not even change those gateways in the... Ah, there they are.
He didn't kill the Marines, by the way, either. They escaped. 2 of them. They're very damaged, but they escaped, and they will be able to scout again later. An insane position for Alive right now. Forge going up for First, but now he's in an awkward place where he's trying to get a Forge without a Robo. The Marines were found and killed. That's unfortunate for them, but They almost made it out alive. Speaking of alive, he does not have a factory just yet, since his command center was a little bit late. So were his gases. So he's going to have to wait for that tech a little bit longer, but he's in a good position.
Yeah, he definitely is. Everything is going his way now. He is the one that dictates the pace of the match, and that's exactly where you want to be. You always want to be the one person that kind of decides on how fast you go here. So he can just slowly but steadily use his tech. He doesn't get factory though. He's still relying on those barracks that he has, and he's not building any SCV. So he cut SCV production. And we might see him attack here. Just getting enough units and trying to storm up this ramp.
Yeah, I think that's entirely possible. It's starting to look likely, actually. He's going to hit with combat shields and stem maybe here as he moves out. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. And there are very few sentries out. In fact,
I don't even,
just three. But they're fairly new sentries. They don't even have. They're all about 100 energy right now, so they're not going to have his full force fields. And he doesn't know this is coming yet, because he does not hold the watchtower.
He doesn't have a lot of units. He does not really have a lot of army supply. This is potentially, I want to call it game ending, but this is like really bad. The observer
He's
finally
literally double
saw
the supply in army, by the way.
well, he saw what's coming with the observer, and now he's retreating. But those sentries, the force fields have to be spot on in order to make this happen.
Oh, and they were. That's a forced stem on all those units.
I don't know. Well, the thing is, this the stim was already used. But as soon as those force fields are gone, he has another set of force fields, and then that's it.
There we go. He stims again. Terran through the zealots already.
Exactly. And now he can move in. And he does. And that's the big problem that he has. The force fields earlier shut out all of those units and didn't trap a single unit in the base. Now the Immortal is gone, and everything just falls apart here for First, who's suddenly down to 55 supply and facing a Terran player who is just going wild.
He's going wild indeed. Double eBay is going up back at home, as well as his Medivacs tech, his starport coming up. He's got more rallied reinforcements coming across the map, so this is not over.
Forget girls going wild. This is actually alive, going crazy.
Yeah, man. This may be the new hairstyle finally showing through. And the Immortal's stuck walking like a crab on the beach, but this is no beach. This is Alive's territory now. More units streaming across the map. 2 Mirage and 4 Marines at a time coming through here.
Alive playing this cautious though. He's just waiting for his opponent to overextend himself, and now trying to snipe this one Immortal, but the Stalkers, they are already gone. The Immortal dies as well. I think that First might even be able to hold here, but with the damage done, he's in such a tough spot. More Stalkers just die to this. The last one explodes as well. Alive is now really, really far ahead. He's still rallying units across the map. He's ahead in Harvesters. He has the 2 mules, and his tech has already been, well, he's on starport now. Double upgrades coming in, and he's even getting a 3rd base.
Yep. The one thing First had for him all throughout this attack was +1 armor. He's about to have +2 armor, but he does not have it yet. And Alive will save these units in the middle of the map. Even with Blink, most of them will get home. And 3rd command center's on its way. Alive taking his 4th gas now. As you mentioned, the first Medivacs on their way. They have not finished yet. Robotic Support Bay is the tech of choice for First, and he's going to have to try to hit a timing, because the position he's in now is definitely not a comfortable one.
Well, the one thing that First achieved is he did not lose too many probes here. He didn't lose a lot of probes, but he lost a lot of units, way more than Alive. So he really made this work. And the Terran player now, with all the tech that he has, double upgrades coming in, the 3rd base being building, is just, as you said, in a great position. Even picks off his opponent's observer, so now First is literally in the dark. And he's not out of this game yet, but he is just behind in most ways. Only by a margin, but this is very dangerous territory here for the Protoss.
Yeah. Things are starting to look more and more uncomfortable for him as the game goes on. He's got +1 on the way now for his crown units. He's got a 2nd forge coming in. Alive's got 2-2, going to start as soon as that armory finishes. Great position here with the Stalkers, going to deny any drops. Will lose a probe though. And actually potentially that pylon, depending on how he angles the attack. Nah, he's not going to go for it. A little bit risky. Ghost Academy going up for Alive. And this means actually that he wants to continue to be aggressive.
Alive with the armory now, so nearly done, so he will have +2/+2 in just a few seconds, as mentioned. And well, there they are, the upgrades for Protoss player, also double upgrades, but Alive getting this 3rd really early in the game, and For him, this is great. 63 against 54 Harvesters, the Mules as well, 3 Mules right now. All the tech that he has, he can produce Vikings, he can get additional starports, he can start with this Ghost production, starts with the double upgrades, finds every single pylon there is on the map.
Yeah, and with the Ghost Academy he made, he predicts his opponent's tech incorrectly, which is likely because he saw that his opponent had Blink very quickly, so he's probably thinking, oh, he's going for that Storm tech.
Well, are Ghosts ever a bad idea?
No, not really.
So he can definitely work with those Ghosts.
It also allows him to be a little bit more aggressive against heavy sentry play if he wants to attack a second time. So I like that choice of going Ghosts. He can switch to Vikings as soon as he knows what's going on. But that's the one thing he doesn't know, which I find a little bit stressful for Alive, because he doesn't know his opponent's producing Colossi that's been hidden from him.
No, but he's getting Vikings
Okay,
anyways.
now he's doing
He's just preparing for all the eventualities, and that's exactly what he should do. He is in a position where he can pull this off. And first is trying to get an expansion here, but even with the third base coming up, he is way behind in economy, and Alive already ahead in overall supply. Is moving out once again, just trying to hit the timing here. Do we have extended thermal lance yet?
I do not believe so.
No, we don't, and he didn't even start. Oh, he can actually drop in the main base. If he wants to, he could drop into the main base here and do do a little bit of damage.
A lot of fear with Alive here, but I respect his decision to pull back because, you know, he doesn't have to win a fight right now.
I don't think he's really afraid. I think he's cautious here.
Yeah, I guess that's a better word for it for sure, yeah. He's not going to attack. He's not comfortable attacking into this, and it's caution.
Yeah. I mean, why would he? If you look at what exactly he has set up here in the position that he made happen, then he is just in a great spot. 5 Ghosts now coming up, +2/+2, nearly done. The Vikings, the second starport.
5 Ghosts.
All the things that we talked about earlier. This is a great position to be in. He is just getting farther and farther ahead in this game. He suddenly has a 40 supply lead over his opponent. So this is a great position to be in. Once the Ghosts actually arrive at his army, he can start with the EMPs.
They have the Mobius reactor upgrade as well,
yep.
So they will be able to just come out with tons of energy available to them when they join the battle. Coming down here, and he's got the second starport as well, which will allow him to prepare that switch to Vikings a lot more comfortably. Now this is actually a scary position because upgrades of first are 3-1 versus 2-2, and the armor for these Zealots is going to make them close the distance no matter what. And he's got these Colossi in the mix as well. Now it all is going to come down to the Concave, Alive way ahead in supply, but he can still lose this army depending on how the battle goes. And first is going to back up. He sees Alive's position. He knows he could actually just spread a Concave, and he will not fight that.
Yeah, still the middle of the map, has the Xel'Naga Watchtower here, and first is backing off. The army supply, as you can see, is in favor of Alive. He has those Ghosts in the mix. If those EMPs hit, then first will be in a very bad spot, especially when he clusters up all his units. And there they are, the Ghosts are in a good position. Yeah. Perfect EMPs hitting everything here, but the force fields, there's still a little bit of energy left, and the force fields are really doing a good job, but Alive, he just has too much there.
You just watched how the EMPs practically erased that Protoss army. The rest of the units fall here. The Immortal, the Warping, and Zealots die before they can spawn. And GG, Alive turns the series around, and he will advance to the next round of Code A, and has secured his spot in the up and down matches.
After losing the first map, Alive takes map number 2 and 3, advances here, playing really well, especially on the last, well, of course the last 2 maps. But this last game was really interesting, especially when he baited out the Stalker, moved in with the Marines, did a bit of damage. The second wave of Marines hurt first quite a bit, and then Alive has this small advantage that he just capitalizes on. Gets further ahead in the game, and in the end is able to take the fight without a problem at all. Very well done by Alive here.
Yeah, it was well executed, and you know, we expected Alive to get through. He does. We saw Yoda take a peek into that booth over there. He's going to be playing later on, and you know, he's got to be here to support his teammate and tell him what he thinks about the game as a Terran player. You know, from giving him that perspective from, you know, you just lost to a Terran player, and you come in there and say, well, you know, I think maybe you could have perhaps done this better, or you didn't quite react to the Marines as well as you should have, or, you know, maybe you got to be a little bit more careful about your scouting pattern. But the build from Alive was genius. How he hit the Marines, did it better than Keen himself, man.
Yeah, every single time I see Keen pull the strategy off, he always kind of manages to get at least a few Marines into his opponent's mineral line, and then suddenly so many probes die. In this case, it was actually just time that, well, the pylon died, and therefore all the time that he lost to warp in units to start his tech and everything. So it was definitely a bad spot for first to be in. But these Marine attacks, if you are able to sneak Marines or Marauders by, then you're just in such a great position. So Live really capitalizing on this and therefore deciding the first
Stalker,
first
the
of three.
natural was not controlled. He just lost it for free.
Well,
that was a huge problem.
He actually looked into the middle of the map where he had still one Marine fighting against the probe. So he was just looking at that, trying to save his probe. At the same time, the Stalker walks down the ramp right into the arms of all the Marines. That's something you don't expect.
Right.
And then when you hear that you are attacked, you look at the position and you're like, oh wow, the Stalker is already dead.
Well, guys, we are going to take a 5-minute break, so we'll see you when we get back for more Code A action.